Hello, today I want to show you how to make one of my favorite backpacking meals, dehydrated mushroom risotto. It's actually a lot simpler than you think and you don't need that many ingredients. What you need is chicken stock or broth, onions, lots of mushrooms, heavy cream to put in at the end after you dehydrate it, arborio rice, and some salt. And that's it. I'll be making 4 large portions. For the full recipe, I'll put it in the description below.
I start with cutting up the mushrooms. I like to take off the stems first. It makes it easier to keep your mushroom cubes about the same size. I used 4 cartons of 8-ounce mini bella mushrooms. Then I cut them up into chunkier square pieces like so. Then I'll cut the stems into 4s. I used 2 onions, 1 yellow, 1 red. You can use whatever onions you would like, it really doesn't matter. I find it easiest to cut the bottom and then the side of the onion, followed by peeling it. Then give it some horizontal cuts up the onion, some vertical ones, and this will give you nice little pieces. See, so pretty. For this recipe, you will need 2 large skillets. Obviously, if you cut this in half, you only need 1. Oil and fats are not your dehydrator's friend, so I like to use water and saute the onions. While the onions are cooking, you want to heat up your chicken stock on a back burner to a slight simmer. You can also use veggie stock if you prefer. This is what is going to give your risotto the most flavor, so I like to use homemade stock, which is surprisingly very easy to make. As you can see, the onions are nice and translucent. If they get stuck to the bottom, you can add a bit more water. Now it's time to add your mushrooms. They will almost fill up your pan, but don't worry, they will cook down quite a bit. So half in one pan, half in the other. Now that your mushrooms are all cooked down, you will notice there's a lot of water in the pan. So you want to cook that out a bit, as you can see here. Once most of that mushroom juice is gone, you can add your rice, no need to rinse it. 1 cup per pan. Your rice is going to absorb what is left of the mushroom water and cook a little bit in the pan for about 30 seconds to a minute. At this point, I like to add salt. I prefer kosher salt, but also add some at the very end. Now we can finally start to add the chicken broth that's been simmering. At the beginning, you're going to add 2 ladles to each pan. My ladle is just under a half a cup, so basically you're adding 1 cup to each pan. The most important part of risotto is the stirring, which is why I think some people find this meal a bit daunting. But it's not difficult, just a little bit time consuming. You need to be stirring the entire time. This helps the rice to absorb the liquid evenly. Since you have 2 pans going, it wouldn't hurt for you to have a buddy so they can continuously stir the second pan, but if not, it's definitely doable for 1 person. So you're just going to stir, 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 and stir some more until the rice has absorbed most of the liquid. This will happen pretty quickly at the beginning. At this point, you will add 2 more ladles to the right side. That's now 4 total. And yep, you guessed it, stir, stir, stir. And then 2 more to the left, and stir. This is what it looks like once the rice has absorbed most of the liquid. As you can see, there isn't much on the bottom. At this point, the rice won't absorb the stock as quickly, so I will only add 1 ladle at a time from now on. This is number 5. And then I'm going to keep working out my right bicep by continuing to stir. Now adding number 5 to the left pan, number 6 to the right, 6 to the left, and stir a whole lot more. Obviously, I'm jump cutting here because I'm pretty sure you don't want to watch me stir for 20 minutes, but it usually takes 2 to 5 minutes between each ladle of stock. At this point, the rice looked pretty plump, so I tasted it and it had a little bit of a crunch in the middle. I had a buddy give me a second opinion and they agreed, so added 1 more ladle of stock, giving us a total of 8, so about 3 to 4 cups on each side. If you were just cooking regular risotto, at this point instead of the ladle of stock, you could add a ladle of heavy cream. Added a bit more salt. You can add pepper here as well, but I don't like it, so I'm gonna pass. Taste testing it again, tastes great, so we'll turn off the stove and prep the dehydrator. Our dehydrator has 5 trays, but only 4 plastic inserts, so I'm going to make one out of parchment paper by tracing one of the plastic ones, and then cutting it out like so. Voila! Beautiful! At this point, you're going to spread out your mixture onto your trays in a very thin layer. The thinner it is, the more consistent it is. So it will evenly dehydrate and dehydrate faster. For this recipe, it uses all 5 trays perfectly. This is a pretty inexpensive dehydrator and it works pretty well, so if you're looking for one, I'll put a link down below. I set the temp to 160 and it should be done in about 8 hours. When done, it will be completely dry and crumble in your hand. I wanted 4 equal portions, so I weighed out the total and it came to 534 grams. So each bag will be about 133 grams. Then I added 2 overfull tablespoons of dehydrated heavy cream to each bag. I used freezer bags because you can rehydrate your food in them, and we will be using them in just 2 weeks. If you plan to store your food longer, I would suggest vacuum sealing them and keeping them in the freezer. Even if you think you're going to remember what's in your bags, I would still suggest you label and date them because a lot of dehydrated food ends up looking the same. Trust me on this.
So each bag is going to be around 165 grams and around 500 calories each. If you want to add some more calories, a great option is to add olive oil. So you can add it into like a little tube like so. Or cheese is another great thing to add right before you go camping. So I like Romano cheese, or you can add Parmesan cheese. And if you shave it into little bits, it doesn't add that much weight. That's all. Happy hiking. Bye. Arborio rice. So today I'm going to be making a double recipe